I hope you're getting home safe and sound so far. All right, so as we keep it moving, let's talk about this menace, Ebola. Yeah, so the latest is about how Uganda has confirmed two new Ebola cases, pushing the country's outbreak tally to 7, with both latest infections involving health workers in Kampala. The outbreak apparently is linked to the deadly Bundibugyo strain. It's a rare form of Ebola with no approved vaccine or treatment yet. Yeah, but I saw folks from the UK they're working on a vaccine. And then meanwhile in neighboring DR Congo, things are actually escalating very fast. Suspected cases, it is said, have now crossed 900 folks, with 200 suspected deaths. Imagine, 200 is a lot, man. 200 suspected deaths reported across multiple provinces. WHO, on the other hand, has officially declared the outbreak a global health emergency concern, warning the risk inside Congo is now very, very high. Let's bring it back home. What's the situation on the ground? Kenya has already intensified screening at border points like Busia as fears grow of a regional spread. Health experts say the virus spreads through bodily fluids, and even handling bodies during funerals can become a super spreader event. And the outbreak is also becoming harder to control because it's happening inside conflict-hit regions controlled partly by rebel groups, while mistrust, panic and misinformation continue to fuel tensions on the ground. Yeah, and then another crazy situation I'm reading over here. They're saying Red Cross volunteers helping communities in Congo have reportedly died after suspected exposure while handling bodies. Flights in and out of parts of eastern Congo have now been suspended as authorities race to contain the situation. One major concern, though, is unlike previous Ebola outbreaks, this strain, Bundibugyo, is that how you pronounce it, by the way? This Bundibugyo strain currently has no proven vaccine, like I said, although scientists are rushing to develop one. Now, you guys have already... okay, one thing you need to know also is that Kenya is using risk-based screening systems instead of blanket quarantines for travelers. Turns out over 40,000 travelers have reportedly already been screened, with ambulances and isolation facilities placed on standby. Ministry of Health is asking guys to look out for symptoms like sudden fever, vomiting, unexplained bleeding, severe weakness, recent travel contact linked to outbreak zones. And at the moment, Kenya's focus is prevention and early detection rather than panic. Yeah, so you guys, bro, I kid you not, man. You guys, forget even hantavirus. If there's one thing that actually traumatizes me, is this Ebola thing, man. You guys, Ikingia Kenya. Oh my God, it's gonna be crazy, you know. And anyway, so I kind of have a positive vibe going on in the sense that you get the feeling that Kenya's a bit prepared. Yeah, I feel like we're taking this thing actually seriously. Yeah, the coordination efforts are looking good. We've actually learned a lot from our early COVID days. And that's a good thing, because Gava understands one very, very hard lesson that many healthcare systems around the region probably do not understand, is that if we wait for too long, for us to take this thing actually seriously, for actually us to, protect Kenyans, then we will regret. No need to wait for confirmed cases, for guys to die, be positively confirmed, for us guys to start acting very serious, And also the other deeper issue, obviously, is about the healthcare systems within the region. Because it's not just a Kenyan situation. Like you've heard WHO guys are saying, the region should be on high alert. And so for me, the question is whether the East African healthcare systems are ready for crisis management, especially when it comes to a pandemic of this magnitude. You know what I mean? Border screening and of course, Izima pref briefings. Okay, they helped in the nini, but really what matters is... just taking like this whole screening process, making sure that the virus, this disease, the virus actually doesn't spread to other East African countries like Kenya, and Tanzania. You know what I mean? Yeah, because you see, the problem is, by the way, I took Yangalia conversations online, right? There's sort of like a weak public trust going on. Like people just don't even trust our governments when it comes to handling this thing. And then I'm just thinking of how the situation was with COVID, yeah? You get hospitals were overwhelmed. I hope it's never going to be like that. Kwanzaa in Kenya. Yeah. And another thing that really scares me and just disappoints me the most is misinformation online. Yeah. It's funny how disinformation and misinformation with regards to Ebola travels so fast, eh? Yeah, so listen, I think what you need to do as a responsible Kenyan and somebody who's actually out there to protect their health is you just look out for credible information from the Ministry of Health. I'm from a platform like KTN and the Standard Group in itself, and of course SpiceFM. Yeah, so, well, East African countries, unfortunately and unfortunately enough, we're all super interconnected, right? So we need to be on the lookout. Trade routes, public transport, cross-border business, obviously matters to do with refugees. Informal movement, yeah, kuna watu wana tumezi, especially the Kenya-Uganda border. Guys use machuoms to go to Uganda, of course, to access fuel and foodstuffs. So we just need to be on the lookout. Ebola is very deadly. And another thing that you need to know, by the way, guys, it's not an airborne disease like COVID. Yeah, it's not. Yeah. The real danger over here, it is said, is complacency on one side and fear-driven chaos on the other. Right. Yeah. Sawa. When we come back, more stories. Over 10,000 child protection cases have been reported as Nairobi leads in missing children reports. We'll get into that. Sad stuff, eh? Sawa. So it's 10 minutes to 8. This is To Love Her by Colin England.